of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Thank you all very much. We will now go to the village administrator, Scott Russell, to go over some mayoral appointments.
Okay. Number one, resolve the trustees hereby vote to rescind the following resolution previously approved on November 21, 2023, Resolution 1974, appointment of Wayne Moore to the position of Maintenance Mechanic 3 of the Building Maintenance Department.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Resolved that Mayor Manger appoints and requests a motion of the Village Board of Trustees to approve Wayne Moore to be appointed to the position of Maintenance Mechanic 3, Step 3 of the Building Maintenance Department at a salary of $70,708.82, and that's effective December 1, 2023.
I'll make the motion. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, just as a bit of explanation here, Wayne Moore was brought on, and we did not categorize him in the correct step. He was brought on as Maintenance Mechanic 3, Step 1, based on his ability and knowledge. He really should have been brought on as Step 3, so that is what this is, correcting that now. So that's just the explanation for that. All right, go ahead, Scott.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees appoints Marcella Gambles to the position of Seasonal Office Assistant in Village Hall at an hourly rate of $28, effective May 24, 2025 through July 5th, 2025.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
A discussion. So Marcella did this last year. She works in our building department, and she is more than happy to work on Saturdays to help with the beach passes during our very busy season from Memorial Day to 4th of July weekend. So she did this last year, and she would like to come back again this year, and that's what this is for. So we have a motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees approves the hiring of the 2025 seasonal police staff with an effective date of May 15, 2025. Seasonal police officer, $27 hourly. That's Greg Heglian. Court officer, $27 hourly, George Ronan. Traffic control officer, $20 hourly, Thomas Collane. Nutimus Williams, Zachary Zana, Mohammed Omar Farouk, Jaden Flores, Anthony Glanz, Travis Kramerborg, Christopher Orozco, Louis Reyna, Joshua Reyes, and Nimro Monterasso.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, so now for presentations. Today is Earth Day 2025, and I thought it was very appropriate to have Johnson Controls come here tonight. Ryan Simpson, we appreciate you coming. You've been the foreman on this project for the last, a year and a half at least. And Steve Phillips, our superintendent for Public Works, will be here also, who has worked very closely on this project. But Ryan, if you'd come to the podium, and if you have a presentation you'd like to present, please hand that to Sage. I think, Sage, does he have to do it there? Okay, got it, sorry. And then you can start your presentation and just talk about the different things that we have done in the village of Southampton to make the village more energy efficient, as well as even allowing us to reach net zero in the carbon emissions at the police and ambulance, and perhaps more in this village. So go ahead, anytime, Ryan.
There we go. Okay. Good evening. Thanks for having me. So I just want to review our Village of Southampton Sustainability and Energy Solutions project to give you guys an update on where we're at so far. Just to start at the beginning, the reason we wanted to do this project is to support a village sustainability and resiliency initiative, reduce utility and operational costs, address deferred maintenance, utilize rebates and grants, modernize the building systems that you guys have, improve safety and security, and work through other projects in 2024 and 2025. And we're currently on track. The last little bit, as I'll get to, you'll see we completed about, I would say 90% of the work so far, and the last bit we're continuing to plug along. So here's a little bit of a tough chart to see. So everything highlighted in yellow is everything that we completed so far, and I'll go down the list of all the, we call them facility improvement measures, FIMs, and all the buildings that we implemented these in. So starting at the top, we have lighting, both interior and exterior. We did LED street lights, post tops, and Cobra heads. Building envelope upgrades. This is weather stripping, window repairs, anything like that to basically keep infiltration and air from escaping the building, so we don't have to overheat the building and continue to run the heat. Energy management system. This is going in at the police station and also throughout the other buildings. Upgraded thermostats, Wi-Fi capability to better control, temperature control, comfortable environment for everyone. Pipe and valve insulation, again, saving energy so we're not losing energy, heat loss as we heat the buildings. Boilers and furnace replacements, controllers, HVAC equipment upgrades, that's boilers, furnaces, compressors, air conditioners, heat pumps in the police department, that's actively ongoing. We also have AC compressor controllers, and the big one here is solar. As you can see, we're still working at the DPW and Job's Lane. And we have energy efficient transformer replacement, a window refurbishment, and roof upgrades. So during the development, our team came out and identified these measures as great opportunities for recognized energy savings based on the age of the building, age of the equipment. If anything was deteriorating, these were identified to be the best savers to do in the village.
And where did you do the boiler and furnace replacement again?
So boiler and furnace replacements are at Veterans Hall
Yeah.
and Windmill and 25 Jobs, and there's going to be another one at DPW.
So the Windmill Lane Firehouse.
Yes.
Another one at DPW. And did we do one at the SAC, Southampton Arts Center?
No.
That's 25 Jobs.
That's
Oh,
25.
I'm
That
sorry,
is
25 Jobs, yeah.
Yes, okay.
Excuse me.
Because I'm just trying to make sure I understand exactly which ones were completed here. Okay. You're still working on the one at DPW?
Yeah, so just to go over ones that we're still working on the energy management system, which is, we call it a building management system. It involves, it's a little more complicated, so we're running our electrical wiring through the police station. Again, better climate control, visibility. People can see, the operators can see, the temperatures in all the rooms, air handlers, things like that. Boiler and furnace replacement at the DPW we're still working on, and after that's installed, we'll put that controller in. The HVAC equipment upgrade at the police station is the heat pumps. Those are being installed currently. And then the last two solar sites, DPW and Job's Lane.
And then all street lights in the village were converted to LED?
Yes.
Okay, so that was very good.
Yeah, all the same type of light for ease of maintenance. So we don't have different lights even on the interior. They're all the same type of LED bulbs. So we don't have to go around and try to find different types for all the fixtures to make everything standardized and easier for everyone.
Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you.
Just some pictures of some work that was done. So building envelope, as I said again, weather stripping around the garage doors. Here's a picture of the LED street lights, again, post tops and Cobra heads and some of the interior lights. Roof replacements, we've done these at the Cultural Center, the DPW, and St. Andrews. HVAC, heating and cooling, and efficiency upgrades. We identified equipment, again, that was aging, deteriorating. Newer technology over the years, better efficiency, we replaced that. And here's some pictures of the solar. So the first one on the left is at the police station.
That's actually the ambulance building.
Well, it's,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry,
Yeah, yeah.
so these will be tied into the police station. The ambulance building on the right is
Yeah.
strictly on the rooftop, roof-mounted system for the
Yeah.
ambulance.
Yeah.
St. Andrews on the left, the DPW on the right.
And you did many buildings at DPW, right? Not just
So yeah,
the one picture
DPW,
there.
we're expanding as you pull into the left, all those buildings going left, and there's one more building on the right that we're working on as well. So the
So-
electrical at that point, we call it glass, which is the solar modules, those
Yeah.
are all installed on the roofs of the building. Right now, we're working on the electrical, and then we do a tie-in, and then have to apply for applications to PSEG.
Right, but that's almost completed the
Yes, yeah,
installation.
DPW, yep.
And it's almost on every roof there? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
About 80%.
Okay. That's good.
So just to go over environmental impact, especially on Earth Day, what we like to kind of measure the savings in is CO2, greenhouse gas emissions. There's different ways to look at it to help kind of visualize. You can say you take 149 cars off the road. You're converting the energy of 72 homes for 1 year. It's just better for our future.
So this is showing you what it would mean each, sorry, just go back one
Yep.
second. So what it means is this is the CO2 emissions of 149 passenger vehicles
Yes,
by the work that you've
by the
done.
work that we're doing in this project. Yep.
Okay,
That's the equivalent.
okay. That's very helpful, thank you.
And again, just to summarize, sustainability goals met or exceeded. We are going to exceed our goals. We will have a measurement and verification process at the end. We do guarantee our energy savings, so we will come in after everything's installed,
Good.
and we will measure and continuing to supply that information to the village when we're finished.
Excellent.
Public health benefits, as I mentioned, as we're going green, using natural energy with the solar is a big one. Reducing our carbon footprint. Universities, K through 12 buildings all across the country are going this route to kind of go net zero is what we call it. Less fossil fuels, and that's the goal.
And how is the village going to do on that then?
Yeah, so just looking at bills-wise, roughly you're saving about, with this project and the buildings that we're implementing our projects in, it's looking like 60 to 70% electrical savings off the total consumption that you guys had. And for your MMBTU thermal or fossil fuel savings, about 40 to 50% savings.
But that's excellent because PSEG is not an inexpensive utility company.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, this could lead to future projects and future initiatives with the Village of Southampton. Future focused projects, as I mentioned, we like to think forward and utilize the latest technology to maximize our energy savings, maximize the health benefits that come across with this project. Fiscal responsibility, we developed this project with the mayor and the team here to come up with the best plan to decide the FIMs, the measures, and the buildings that we can address to best utilize our resources. And as I mentioned before, guaranteed energy savings will be able to show you guys that savings, and you can see it in your hand.
Mhm.
That's it. If you have any questions?
Thank you, Ryan. I have a question. Can you talk to us about the PSEG
Sure.
hookups and what's going on with
Yeah,
them?
so far, police and the police station, the 3 carports, we call them carports because you can park underneath them, those are connected and up and running. So at the end of let me just start from the beginning, I guess. So at the end of our installations, we coordinate with PSEG to do an electrical tie into the building. A lot of these are called net meters, so they go into a specific meter in the building and connect it to that meter. We submit our subcontract and ourselves. We work together to submit applications to PSEG. They have a specific department that reviews these. They can come back with comments, questions, and any timeline they feel necessary, unfortunately. There's no predicated timeline that they specifically use. And they need to come out and do a witness test. Then we submit more applications and forms saying that everything is done and here's our as-built, and if we need to get it, it's called a PTO, permission to operate letter from PSEG. And those are what we need for the assistance to be officially turned on and to you guys see those savings.
But the police station's already working.
Police station's already working. So we're the cultural center. Yeah, cultural center, we're still waiting. We have DPW still needs to be connected. Job's Lane, as you can see, is ongoing.
Yeah.
Ambulance, cultural center, and St. Andrews, excuse me. Yeah, those are all submitted. So talking with my team, we're anticipating within the next month and a half, we should see PTOs, permission to operate forms. So those can all be turned on. You guys can recognize those savings.
And how did the police station get done so first and so quickly?
I wish I could tell you.
Yeah.
PSEG is as you know, is their own entity. That's the utility is tough to deal with. So everything gets submitted all at once as we complete it.
Maybe Chief Hurto had an in with PSEG.
Maybe. It is the biggest system, so maybe they prioritize that one first. I wish I had the answers to their means and methods.
Okay. No, I appreciate that. And,
I had a quick question.
oh, sorry.
We see around the village you're putting these on the roofs of the buildings where they're not so noticeable, but in some places, for instance, the parking lot at the ambulance, we have freestanding structures. And now in the parking lot on the south side of Job's Lane, there's some freestanding structures. Do those freestanding solar panels, couple of points, how much maintenance do they require? Does somebody have to get up and clean those and keep them clean?
No, so there's really no maintenance involved with them in terms of rain or anything building up on them. There's little gaps in between if you really want to get up there and take a quick look at it. There's gaps in between that the water will seep through, and in the winter the snow will slowly melt off and drip through down the side, and there won't be any maintenance in regards to that.
And does the village, or could the village, did we have enough roof space to put them, or were those, in order to reach our energy goals, were those areas necessary?
So yeah, so it's just certain structural properties that we need to look for in certain buildings, and based on the sizes that we need to achieve to get to net zero in the buildings that we were looking to do, carports, necessarily for the police station, needed to be utilized in that situation. Ambulance being a smaller building, we didn't need as much. We were able to utilize the roof on that. Same thing as the cultural center. So yeah, we look at, again, both structural and what's needed to hopefully offset, which we were able to do in a lot of these cases, your utility bill, and that's why we use a carport.
Is DPW going to be handled then by the ones that are on the roof at DPW? Department of Public Works?
Yes.
Are the solar panels on the roofs of the buildings are going to be sufficient to make the Department of Public Works barn then self-sufficient?
Yes, yeah, net zero, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So all those again are connected to a meter. So the only one that's not going to be connected to a building is Job's Lane. We call that a feeder system. So we are able to connect that back to the grid, and we are able to apply that to certain account numbers. So what we identified is we can offset the utility here and make Village Hall net zero, and we can also move on to other fire departments such as Windmill and Antique and make that net zero as well with the production that we're getting from Job's Lane.
Excellent, but it's not going to be tied into any specific
Not tied into any
building.
specific building.
So then we can choose what we would like to offset.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very interesting. Steve, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, you hit it.
How has it been working with Ryan?
Excellent.
Okay.
The problem is PSE&G.
I know.
That's the
I don't know. I don't understand why the police station got done so quickly and the other
Again,
ones were still
my
waiting
only
on.
thought is it's the largest one, so there's different people in there reviewing it.
Yeah.
There's not one specific person.
Yeah.
Our subcontractor has one specific person, and they send the emails and the communication they have. They follow up twice a week, and it's again all different names I see on there. So it's just that one got chosen to do first.
No, I understand. Are there any other questions from board
I
members?
have one question.
Yeah.
You mentioned the cultural center. Did you mean the cultural center or the art center before when you mentioned that?
The cultural center, I believe. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And has the AC been upgraded or changed at the cultural center? Because they're having problems there.
No, the cultural center, we only did a boiler replacement, and we did a roof replacement, and the solar panels.
I see. You may want to look at the AC system, because also the blower is extremely noisy, and they're complaining about it a
loud
lot.
system.
So I don't want to check that out.
We
It's
could do that.
possible.
Steve, maybe
Yeah,
you
we
can.
can dive into DPW. We'll look into that.
Anything else, Robin?
No, good.
All
Thank
right.
you very much.
Thank you, Ryan, very
All
much.
right,
I really
thank you.
appreciate you being here tonight and for the
Absolutely.
presentation. And Steve, you were nice to stick around too. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right, so now the next presentation tonight. I love when we have these work sessions because I like these presentations. The next presentation is going to be from our architects who are going to talk about, and just as a background, they had actually begun working on a reno for the third floor a few years ago, and then it stopped, and I started it up again with the work that they had already completed. So we didn't have to start from square one. So again, it was a pretty good deal to just continue on with the folks who had already started this. And so it's Peter De Pasquale and his partner Rebecca Garnett, and they are going to share with the board renderings, but then I think you're also going to be able to display it on the television so
That's right.
people at home can see it. Sorry, here. We got it. Let's go. Good. All right. So, Peter, are you going to do the talking?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just going to bring it up here on screen at the same time.
So, and everyone can see at the beginning, the rear of the building doesn't really look too attractive. And honestly, it could be found in several cities across the United States. But, one thing I wanted to ensure is that the building looks more like it's Southampton Village Hall. So I'll turn it over to you now.
Sure. Thanks for the introduction. I'm Pete DePasquale. Becky Garnett. Our office is Garnett DePasquale. We were here a few years ago looking at a number of initiatives and things that could happen around Village Hall. It is a historic old building where a lot of things have happened in pieces over time. And so we looked at the range of options in our previous study. And here we were working with the mayor to narrow down to the most important initiatives and figure out the simplest and most effective ways to execute them. So,
And the most cost-effective.
that's right, right. So we did that work with the mayor, we did that work with the fire marshal and with the senior building inspector, trying to work through nuances of code, existing building code, and having the fire marshal's blessing, which is actually, can trump those things.
Very important, yeah.
The three main things we're looking at here are a rear addition to the building to provide safe egress in the event of a fire. This stair, exposed to the elements, it's steep, it's not code compliant in really any way. So that was initiative number one. Number two is putting the third floor to use, renovating that space so that it becomes an amenity and a useful space for the village. And then number three is completing a number of started or miscellaneous safety measures to make the whole building safer and to make the rear stair, the third floor, and other spaces and projects all work together as one. Oops.
So, and I believe the third floor had been gutted when the police department left Village Hall. Oh my gosh, it must have been more than 20 years ago, and then moved to their new headquarters. But Steve, is that correct, that it's basically been gutted that whole time? I remember the front of it was actually a men's locker room.
I'm not sure about 20 years ago, but I know we did it about 10.
But what was up there then at that point? Remnants of the police department?
A lot of asbestos.
Well, I'm glad that's been remediated. Okay,
That's why you guys are all
yeah,
immediate.
all right.
Permanent nightmare.
Just to give you all a bit of orientation, this is the existing building. So the ground floor on the left, second floor in the middle, and then the third floor on the right.
Let me show where we're sitting. Just for
Sure.
We're
You
the
all,
sort of the-
you all are sitting right here, and I'm
Beige
standing
pink
right
area.
there.
Yeah, we got it.
towards the top of the page.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I'll run through the various scope initiatives and show you what the impact will be on the look and feel at the back. So on the first floor, I'll go up through the building. The first pieces to address are just improving some basic safety measures. There is only at the moment, because a stair to the basement was taken over at a point to become a janitor's closet, there's no second way out of the basement. So one of the first things we'll do as part of this project is to open that stair back up. And in case of an emergency or a fire downstairs, there's two ways out. It's just code and the right thing to do. The second initiative, which the fire marshal has wanted us to undertake, is to replace the front door at the building, which are these sliding doors that can break away in the event of a fire. There are sometimes difficulties with those doors, hang-ups. They don't always work how you want them to. So the idea is to have a more traditional, functional, fail-safe concept of door.
But it has to be ADA accessible, obviously.
That's right. So we'll make sure that it meets accessibility standards as well. In this room, the only proposals are to remove that door, and then that door becomes not a door to outside, but to a new entry vestibule from the rear of the building. So we'll show you this in more detail, but outside you come underneath an overhang onto a porch, you come into a vestibule, and then you make your way down the hall.
Do you want to show that?
Sure.
Because I think it's easier to visualize it when you see it on the screen. Please.
So this is what we see now. Here's the what we affectionately call the carbuncle off the back
Yeah, that's the
the
emergency exit from
vestibule
the boardroom.
to
Yeah.
outside. And this is the door that you take to get into Village Hall. It's typically locked at an hour like this. So the idea now is this is the line of the existing building right now, which is flush with the back of this room that we see here. What was red, which we're now showing is white.
So those two windows that are seen on the left are the two windows behind Sage. Yeah, okay, I got it.
And so here we have a new covered entry, allows one to come in. And then this door here, I think, pending some decisions by the village and the mayor, it could be a way for people to come into the room, or we can keep that closed off and continue to have them just come primarily through this door.
Right.
Just as an FYI, those two doors and the distance between them are what's required for safe egress of this room. That one's not required. So rather than having so many doors.
And the reason why that door was there is at one point there was a partition that could be pulled across where there's that channel on the ceiling. And that has long been gone. And actually, there's some pipes now that have filled in there, so you couldn't even do that now if you wanted. So that was the reason for the two doors, was if this room had been separated, they would have access to each part. But now that that's not a possibility, it doesn't make sense to maintain all these doors in the room, as long as we're fine with this front one, that one, and obviously the one that goes this way to the bathrooms, yeah.
Just another entrance here, another image here. We wanted to maintain the parking here. We wanted this to continue we didn't want to design something too showy or that felt like it was competing with the front of the building. The mayor wanted to be sure that this felt like a back door and a place to come in that was welcoming, but distinct from the entrance where, you want most people to come in through. Just for the scale of it here, the idea would be to continue the historic brick patterning and the historic brick details wrapping around. And then this is that fire egress stair, which takes one down to the exit at grade safely.
And that rear now of the building is really the enclosed staircase.
That's right.
So there would be two internal staircases to the building, and this one would definitely be up to fire code standards.
Right. So if we look on the plans here, you can see the extents of the existing building here in this light orange color, and then there are two step outs. In the new proposal, we kept the same, the existing building in the same tone. The area of interior addition is the green. We really tried to vacuum seal the thing in order to be efficient about how much addition was happening here, just trying to be conscious of cost and effort. Here's that outdoor porch that brings you into the entry. There's a vestibule that takes you can either go through this door upstairs with proper security measures, or you can go down the hall, or you can potentially go into the meeting room. But you also don't need to have all of those control points open to everyone at all times.
Right. But that's much cleaner than what we have right now at the rear of this building.
Right.
Where you come in and you walk upstairs and turn around a corner and yeah.
To go back to the sort of scope recap.
Yeah, sorry, I made you rush ahead.
No, it's okay. It's better to go there and see what all of this is in service to. So that, we talked about the improvements up front. We talked about the addition and the new entry at the back. This is second floor.
Yeah.
The idea here is we have to, in order to help comply with existing building code and be discreet about our our improvements, we will add a door here between the elevator lobby and the stair. It can be glassy if we want to.
Yeah.
It can be solid.
Basically, the idea is to create a stair that has what's called a smoke enclosure. So in the event of a fire, the smoke is contained, in a single location and can't spread all over the floor. So that would be the idea of that additional door.
So I'm confused. I'm sorry. Show me where the door is again.
Yeah, just right here between there's actually a cased opening there right now, like a threshold, and then you walk through it, and there's a closet. We just actually have to have a door there.
Okay.
And it can be on a closer.
I know what you're talking about now. Now
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah. Sorry. Yep.
It's okay.
Got
We're
it.
trying to go to just enough detail. So
Got it. Now I got it.
part of the thinking, so that's the limit of the work on the second floor,
And this is really to bring it into compliance with current fire code.
to bring the stair into, yes.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. To bring the stair into what would be minimum compliance with fire code so
Right.
that you can use the third floor.
And the new proposed stair at the rear of the building obviously would already be in.
That's going to be fully compliant to
Yeah.
contemporary code.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it'll have a whole other level of,
It'll be a rated enclosure technically,
Right,
so
right,
it's like
right.
fireproof for
But it can also be
multiple
used
hours.
as an internal staircase. So,
That's
for
right.
example, if you were on the first floor and you wanted to go, to the third floor, you could just use that staircase and not have to use the front one.
Yeah, it's a much safer,
right.
convenient stair,
Yeah.
absolutely. Hmm.
and so for the third floor, which was the police department at a point, and makes it a business use, we're actually continuing that past business use, and that's allowing us to, again, do these discrete measures like a smoke enclosure as opposed to adding sprinklers to the building, as opposed to creating a fire-rated stair. So we're, working with the existing building code, to good use to try and limit the number of improvements to make the third floor viable. You come up the entry stairs, it's open. I can imagine there being some improvement to the stair and refinishing of it. You come up and there's a conference room. This is larger than the mayor's office and could be a dedicated space for private meetings. It could be a space for public presentations, roughly 18 by 19 feet.
That's a nice sized room. Yeah.
Up front here, we have what code calls an elevator vestibule, but as we're calling a breakout space where there can be breakout meetings. It could be a lunch space, and someone can be by the recently refurbished window out towards Main Street and get up close to it and see the view. Also, we have a glass partition between that conference room and that breakout space so that you get a view of the window from inside the conference room as well. You continue down this hall, we have a handicap accessibility compliant bathroom. We have a new and improved archive space for the building department. And then we have a trustee's office, and then the treasury moves up from the second floor to
See,
the
I was
third
thinking
floor.
about you guys. The trustees need to have an office too.
Treasury moves up from the second floor to the third floor such that the building department can have the second floor in its entirety. Upstairs, we have some office amenities like a copy area, office supplies, and then also a kitchenette that could serve these offices and also serve the conference space.
Well, I think it really looks great. I mean, the treasurer's offices are so much larger than what they're currently in. So I think that the treasurer's office would definitely appreciate the new additional space. Is Julie here? Would you appreciate that, Julie?
I think the mayor tried to convince the fire marshal to move here, but he's reluctant to move away from his buddies.
Yeah,
Down-
hear what's going on.
But valuable meeting space and also a conference room for the building department, which as a frequent user of the building department, I can see as being quite useful. Yeah,
Yeah, no, and because right now the planner, Alex, sits in what is really a pass-through hallway between the assistant's office with the front desk and the building inspector's office. So this would actually move the planner to a closed office where they currently have the conference room, and then the conference room would move to the front to one of the the old treasury offices. So that does seem to make much more sense, and it gives more privacy also to to the building inspector and the planner, because they're not having to walk through each other's offices all the time. It separates them out. But otherwise, it's pretty much remaining the same, correct?
yeah, that's right. It's really just a reallocation of space.
Yeah.
That's right.
Where is the village clerk?
So,
I don't see her on there anywhere.
so I think this was mislabeled here, and Mayor, correct me
Oh
if
yeah,
I'm wrong.
it
That should
says
be the
treasurer's
clerk.
office, but that's currently
This will be the clerk.
this was actually a version that we are not doing. So the main floor is remaining pretty much the same. This was an earlier version when it was more grandiose, and I said we couldn't do as much as that. So
Yeah, apologies.
we
So it will go
stuck
back to what we see
We
here.
Yeah,
stuck
we'll have
to
the partition
the
in
third
that room.
floor and some things just to make the building code compliant with the fire marshal. But we did not do the major renovation of this floor, because that was just became too much.
The help counter area on the second floor then gets pushed to the rear of the building. From right now, it's right up the stairs, and you go through the doorway. This is a little further back.
It's actually in the
For the building department?
Yes, it's in the same location.
Same location.
It's the same location.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is the exact same location.
We're really just pushing the. No, I guess
The second
Yeah.
floor
Just
really doesn't
shifting
change
people.
so
Just
much
shifting
in,
people.
in
Yeah.
its layout and design. The only thing they're adding, as I understand, was that door
That's right.
to where the elevator is to make it code compliant.
Right.
But the rest, all the rooms are staying exactly the same. There's
There's
no
been a-
money, no additional money being spent on these offices. They're just being sort of repurposed.
That's right. I mean, there's been a number of efforts to improve the HVAC, everything else on the second floor. And so we're just aiming to have as light a touch as necessary. One, to improve this egress situation on the back, and then two, the smoke control up front.
Yeah.
Also, is there any required change in the septic system here because of any of these changes?
We think that there will be a requirement because of where the septic system is, due to its proximity to the proposed addition, that it would need to be upgraded. I mean, and the village would actually be the one to say if the septic system needs to be upgraded, so I guess Chris gets to make the call technically.
Funny,
But I think the county would, I think it would be a good use of funds to.
Yeah. And you can see these
upgrade it and have it be-
these three rings right here on this sheet indicate where the septic system is, and this dash line shows where the addition is. And both the addition and the course of construction that will require those to be
Right.
relocated.
And commercial septic systems are often located, beneath paved areas, like in a parking
Yeah, they would
lot.
be moved out further into the
Yeah.
parking lot.
And you
Yeah.
can drive over them. with
Unless
them,
we
too.
had a sewer system, and then we would just hook up to the sewer system.
That's an even better idea. We're not proposing that for this project.
No, we're trying to get there.
And just as an FYI, the limit or the edge of the Village Hall property actually is all the way to this curb cut here.
Right, right. Yeah.
On the first floor, if I go out the door right behind me, I can go that way, but there's nothing shown on the drawing behind the boardroom. So what?
No. Honestly, this was, I hate to say this was a mistake on their part. They're showing you a previous iteration that we are not doing. We are leaving, at least my proposal is to leave this floor alone.
Yes, and
because
apologies for that.
it
But
was-
there's no disruption or
It's
reorganization
no
to
disruption
any
on
of
the
these
ground
spaces.
floor because it would be disruptive to Village Hall, and it was also cost too much money.
The limit of work in the back is here.
The plan you want to look at,
And then the
Roy,
limit.
is actually on page 3, because that is showing what is
That's
currently
right,
here.
that's right.
And it's staying basically the same, although,
I see what you're saying.
yeah.
All right, so
So-
the board meeting hall is not taking up the whole room anymore.
That's
Correct,
right.
correct.
Right.
Okay.
The only change here was, again, the elimination of that door and a change of this door to go out into the new staircase. As opposed to the little, as you call it, the carbuncle shed that hangs off the end of the building. Yeah.
Oops.
You get it.
Didn't
Yeah,
work.
you're getting
Yeah.
it. There you go. Look at this.
Close.
Pete, you're
Sorry about that.
You're very
We
good
can
at this.
distribute an updated digital
Yeah.
version of the presentation as well.
No, that's fine. And we do, basically the ground floor is staying the same. So ignore anything on the ground floor there. It's really the third floor that's being focused on, because right now it's just a gut mess, yeah. And the addition of the rear staircase,
That's right.
which I think is a huge improvement, not only for internal communication between the 3 floors, but also from a safety standpoint of having another fully fire-rated interior staircase that's not susceptible to the elements, whether it's snowing in the winter or ice or raining. You have a very good way to exit the building in case of emergency, and you're going to provide a second exit from the basement.
That's right.
So that, again, we don't want anyone trapped in the basement if there were, some fire or other calamity.
And I think having the second entrance to the back here even on like a meeting like this at this time of day, it's just a very practical consideration for bringing people in or directing them where to go to a meeting. And then with this door, if you imagine now, you look at the end of the corridor, you see the door to the janitor's office, but you can imagine that now as a glass door and side light, such as you can see all the way out the end of the building. So I think it'll be a great amenity and just aesthetic improvement for the building as well.
Well, I think the back of the building, the way you rendered it, is a huge improvement over the back, the way it looks now. I mean, now it looks like the back of a tenement building somewhere, whereas your rendering looks like a municipal building.
It's a place to go.
All right, any other questions?
Because I can't control myself.
Yeah.
What is the cost estimate of this?
Well, so we as architects don't typically give out the cost of things, but we, in sort of collaborating with the mayor and thinking about like how this thing might be executed, we talked about the idea of a budget goal of $2 million, but that needs to be vetted. And I think, part of the reason some of like the renderings and some of these items are a little hazy is because we have to work the design to the responsible budget. So we need to find the right kind of builder partner to really optimize the cost and the details of it.
Thank you.
And obviously, we would have to follow our procurement rules and,
Right.
you do an RFP and see who wants to bid on it. I mean, actually, the folks that are doing the History Museum have already asked if they would be allowed to bid on this. And I said, you can bid just like anybody else, yeah. That's what Lipsky Construction. But anyway, so obviously that's the process the village would have to go through, and then we'll see who comes up with the most reasonable bid.
Yep.
Are the doors keyless entry, or what are they?
I think they absolutely can be. I think that would be convenient for you guys to be able to kind of fob in and out,
It's a
especially
security
as you're
issue,
going
too.
right to the
Yeah.
other levels. Exactly,
Because
because
you can
for the
control who's coming in and out.
Yeah,
You
Yeah.
know.
and you know who's
because for
coming
the
in and out.
stair, it's like everybody needs to be able to go out, of course, in a fire, but to be able to get in, you could have access control to get in to each level.
Well, yeah, because
above.
I wouldn't want someone coming in at the back
Right.
and then maybe walking
Exactly,
upstairs.
just
to
like
another
wandering into the
office.
building
Yeah.
department, right?
Yeah.
But of course, everybody from the building department would be
Would
able
have access to get out.
leave.
Sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
hmm
And I think there's some continued conversation about which point is the right one to control. Like, that's okay to go through, or this one we say, hey, this is just an exit, we leave it.
Mhm.
So I think there are some options and refinements to come there.
Are there any other questions? Scott, you want to ask any questions?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, well, again, I appreciate all the hard work you guys have put into this. I think, to me, it looks like a great plan. We just have to, again, make sure that we've got the money available to go forward with it. But I'd like to hear from the rest of the board what they think. Ed, what do you think?
I think the plans, the proposal is magnificent. Let's hope the cost is not magnificent.
Yeah. Len, do you have any comments?
No, you've answered my questions. Thank you.
Robin?
Yes, third floor, you mentioned not having a sprinkler system?
That's
Can
correct.
we talk about that?
Yes, so we've worked with the fire marshal to talk about what the minimum requirements would be, like particularly related to cost, because of course, like for all, third floors that you're proposing on other buildings, they would require sprinklers. And so for existing building code for the third floor, as long as the occupancy remains business use, so not like a public assembly space, but just offices, conference rooms, therefore like the occupancy of the space, the number of people that can occupy it is limited. In that case, it's not required to be sprinklered. And so that's what we were following, that particular piece of code.
But
And
you're
then-
putting in those additional doors, for example, containing the staircase and the elevator.
Yes,
So that
that's
again,
right.
that was his main concern, if I
Yeah.
understood correctly.
Exactly. I
Um,
think adding the fire rated stair at the back was like
That was a
really
huge- that
it
was
was
a
really
huge-
the impetus for the project. I think just because it's sort of like an obvious.
And that was a huge game changer, because if there
Right.
was a fire, you could access the back very easily.
Right.
Without
And so that would
any
be
problem.
rated, so it would have a fire rating itself. So like in the event of a fire, it would have a number of hours to still be fully functional before, there was an issue. And then per existing building code, the existing historic stair only needs to be what's called smoke controlled. And so it means that smoke won't come in or out of it. It wouldn't, go go from stair
And
to
that's why
other
they're
places.
proposing additional doors to basically isolate
Right.
the internal front staircase.
Yeah, I mean, we of course would never be opposed to sprinkling a space or, having the third floor, or some people would sprinkler like the third floor and the stair down. I think it was like, of course, cost is like one of the concerns, and so
And we're
following,
requiring
yeah,
disruption up and down the entirety of the building.
yeah, of course. And so I think, being able to maintain the business occupancy allows it to remain unsprinklered. If it were to be proposed to be an assembly occupancy, like for, more than, for a room like this, it would absolutely need to be sprinklered in that case as a requirement.
But this room on this floor, because I think actually we have a sign somewhere that says what the legal limit is in this room. I
Yeah.
can't remember what it is.
Right.
But I mean, obviously, this has access doors, to get out, and so this meets the requirements.
Yeah, the way the building code works, it allows you to maintain the level of compliance that was required when the building was constructed. And so it's because if you wanted to, undertake a renovation project for part of the building, it would be incredibly onerous to require that the entire building be brought up to current building code. It would make it, difficult for anyone to do anything.
Would also be
And
very
so-
disruptive in the building. I mean, we would probably
Yeah, of
have
course,
to relocate
right.
to a different location until the work was done.
Yes, and so that's why the existing building code exists, because it lets you, analyze what you are doing and establish what the requirements are for that work area, it's called. And so if, in our case, the work area is their third floor, and the biggest issue would be, or kind of the biggest disruption would be changing it to a different type of occupancy from a business occupancy.
So in other words, what you're saying is no one will have to be relocated during this reconstruction?
Yeah, well, the mayor was, of course, concerned about everyone being able to work in the
Yeah.
building. I mean, I think the construction itself will be disruptive and loud,
Right.
but,
But it should be contained only on the third floor, really.
right, but hopefully
Except
it's
for the
contained,
couple of
like,
doors you're adding,
the back
otherwise,
and the third
and the
floor.
back will be disruptive.
Right.
Right,
But the thing is, everyone should be able to work in the rest of the building.
Yeah.
right.
The fire marshal did indicate a requirement for a temporary second stair outside to replace the exterior one that's
Correct.
here during the
Right.
course of construction, so that someone can get out. And so there's some more to figure out exactly how that works.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing to know about this building is because it's historic, actually the fire marshal does have the ability to either, there is leeway for them to either create or, not allow like particular items. And the fire marshal was like, we want to have the safest possible building, of course.
Yeah.
He was really, wanting to be careful, and even wrote us a note this morning about like the idea that we could maintain like a reasonable level and even improve like the smoke control on the second floor and the path out of the building, so that in the event of an emergency, it is like the safest possible
Yeah, just like a
place.
technical note is that there's the like the code if you're doing a new building, there's existing building code, and then they relax it further in the existing building code for historic structures. But in working with the fire marshal, he says
he doesn't want to relax the
you're
requirements.
so
of course.
close.
No,
you're
no,
so
I know.
close
And
to being at just the existing
and-
building level. Like, let's not take it down to the historic one.
Yeah, no, Dean
And
is
so
being
we're-
very diligent, and
yeah.
I know you've spent a huge amount of time
Yeah.
with him
Yeah.
going over this.
Yeah.
And he's come to the point that he's comfortable with what you're proposing.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think finding the right balance of the stair on the third floor being, having this smoke enclosure, but also you're able to still experience the historic character of it is like kind of a nice compromise, I think,
Yeah.
for that.
Well, the
third
the
floor.
old staircase in the front is really pretty.
Yeah, it's gorgeous,
pretty
and
nice
it's
looking.
wide, and
Yeah.
it's like structurally stable. It has all the elements of an egress route.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just not contained like a new egress route would be. hmm
But but the new one is completely going to be completely fire rated.
Yes, yeah,
That's right.
it will be rated.
Additions
exactly.
additions have to be fully compliant with new code, and
Yeah.
this will fall
Yeah.
under
Yeah.
to that.
Right.
Okay, Roy, do you have any questions?
No,
Comments?
thank you. Excellent presentation.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for being available to be here tonight to do this presentation.
Yeah, we're happy to
Appreciate
be
it.
here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Nice
you.
meeting you.
You too.
Okay. So at this time, I think we'll go then to suggested resolutions. Len, do you want us to read us
Okay,
lead us off
number
on the warrant?
number one, resolve the claims for the warrant dated April 22nd, 2025, totaling $361,283.68. Warrant number A22, general, and $11,812.92. Warrant number H11, capital, are audited and approved. I'll make the motion.
I will second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
Resolve the reading of the minutes for the April 10th, 2025 Board of Trustee meeting is dispensed, accepted as filed by the village clerk, and all actions taken at said meeting are hereby ratified. I'll make that motion.
I will second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
Number three, resolve the Board of Trustees hereby approves the 2025-2026 preliminary operating and capital budget as amended by the attached changes as the adopted 2025-2026 operating and capital budget. I'll make the motion.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you.
Number 4, resolved at the request of the mayor, the Board of Trustees authorizes Village Hall to be open on Saturdays, starting May 24th, 2025 to July 5th, 2025 at 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. to provide beach permit services. Do I have a motion?
You'll make the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the office of the village clerk to provide election services for residents on Saturday, June 7th and Saturday, June 14th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees approves the appointing of the following individuals as election inspectors for the village election on Friday, June 20, 2025, operating hours from 8:30 a.m. to 9:30 p.m., effective June 20, 2025. That is Diane Fisher as chair for $30 an hour, Jenny Fingeligeri, chairperson for $30 an hour, Ellen Greaves, $25 an hour, Arthur Nation, $25 an hour, Vera Cowell, $25 an hour, Georgette Chapek, $25 an hour, Betty Nichols, $25 an hour, Diana Taylor, $25 an hour, and Judy Johnson, $25 an hour.
I'll make the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Resolved, the Board of Trustees approves Nutimus Williams as a probationary member of Agawam Hose Company Number 1, effective April 22nd, 2025. So moved.
Second, discussion. I noticed he's also one of our new traffic control officers. So I'm glad that he's stepping up to be a member of our fire department as well as one of our traffic control officers this summer. So we have a motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Number 8, resolve the Board of Trustees authorizes the mayor to execute an agreement with Neil's Media for videography services to the village not to exceed $2,999, subject to the approval of the village attorney. I'll make the motion.
I'll second. Just to discuss this, this is actually in part of the deal that we have with CTV, Sun TV. We are allowed to broadcast things on that cable channel that is filmed at the town hall. We also wanted to let people know about some of the not-for-profits that operate in the village as part of that. So we asked Neil's of Neil's Media to go out and, again, talk to people at the History Museum, the Southampton Arts Center, the Village Ambulance, and the like, just to talk about some of the not-for-profits that we have in Southampton Village. And then, again, CTV, because of the agreement that we have with them, will be able to broadcast this on the cable channel, for as part of our deal. So we have a motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Resolved, the Board of Trustees authorizes the mayor to execute a 3-year agreement with TK Elevator Corporation for the maintenance and required inspections of the elevators in Village Hall, 23 Main Street, the Village Firehouse at 470 Hampton Road, and the Village Volunteer Ambulance Building at 165 Windmill Lane, at an annual cost of $10,500, subject to the approval of the village attorney. I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor? Oh, just
Aye.
discussion. So this was also trying to put all of these elevators on one contract to make it more efficient, and I'm hoping a little bit of a cost savings, because right now, I think every elevator in the village is on a separate contract, which is not the most efficient way to run the village. So this is allowing us to put these elevators on one contract. The police department elevator needs some further work, but once that is done, they can be added to this contract as well. But we didn't want to put the police elevator on yet until we were able to do the repair and maintenance work that we need to do for that elevator. So we have a motion second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees authorizes the village attorney and village assessor to enter into a stipulation to settle an Article 7 tax lien litigation between the village and Eric Felder and Dinah Felder related to property located at 256 Wickapog Road, Southampton, New York, and further identified as Suffolk County Tax Map 904-30-1-17.1. Said settlement reduces the annual assessed value on the property and resolves the claim for reductions for tax years 2020-21 through 2022-2023 for a lump sum cash refund of $2,034.23 without interest, as set forth in the proposed stipulation negotiated between the village assessor and Murphy and Lynch PC, attorneys for Eric Felder and Dina Felder. The refund is payable upon receipt of the court order. The assessed value for 2020-21 through 2020-22-23 shall be $114,818.
So I'll make the motion.
Second.
Discussion. So actually, the refund, though, is just over $2,000.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
That's right.
that's fine. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
Okay. I'm going to ask the board to consider tabling Resolution 11 as I continue to work with the Southampton Village Dog Park Committee. There might be some changes both to the plan, the timetable, and the ultimate budget.
Okay, well, I will make the motion then to table Resolution 11 at the suggestion of the village administrator. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you all very much.
Resolved, the Board of Trustees approves the Hope for Depression Research Foundation to hold its annual HDRF Race of Hope 5K on Sunday, August 3rd, 2025, at 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. to start and finish at Agawam Park. I make a motion.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved, the Board of Trustees approves the Roger Memorial Library to host their annual outdoor movie at Agawam Park on Tuesday, August 26, 2025, at 7:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. I make a motion.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that was a pretty easy meeting. All right, so we'll go to comments from board members, and we will start with Trustee Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I'd like to thank DPW for all their hard work, and thank you so very much. We had a meeting with the Sustainability and Committee, and you took the great length of time to detail the routes that are going to be happening that'll be safety related for the bike paths. So we want to thank you so very much for that, Steve, and your team. Also, I want to say thank you to Chief Walker that invited myself and the mayor was away, to the safety session that our middle school and high school attended. It was quite informative. It was great to see the rescue with the Southampton police helicopters, with the military helicopters. We were there to see the helicopters that were able to assist in releasing all the water for the fire that we had, and also that they're going to be the police helicopter team will be able to start doing rescues from the waters. So it was quite informative. It was wonderful to have all the chiefs there, the lieutenants, and had time to be with our community. So I want to thank everyone for that. Hope everyone had a good holiday, and good night.
Thank you, Trustee Brown. We'll go to Trustee Simeoni.
Yeah, I just want to update what I did with the Community Benefit Fund that that prior to being elected, I pledged that my trustee salary would be donated for the benefit of the community. In 2024, I earned a gross salary of $10,171, and it was donated to the following organizations: $1,000 to the Southampton Arts Center, $1,000 to the Southampton Cultural Center, $1,000 to Maureen's Haven, $1,000 to Amaryllis Farm Equine Rescue, $1,000 to the Bridgehampton Child Care and Recreation Center, $1,000 to the Southampton Volunteer Ocean Rescue, $1,000 to the Rogers Memorial Library, $2,000 to the Heart of Hamptons, $500 to the Christmas Decorating Committee, $500 to an International Fund for Animal Welfare. I am so pleased to not only have made a contribution to public service, but also to benefit and support local charities and organizations that do so much to address the needs of our community. And I will do the same thing with my salary for 2025.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Simeoni. We'll go to Trustee Stevenson.
Thank you, Mayor. We all love this village, and in our heart of hearts, we kind of would love it to stay the way it is, either now or perhaps in my own personal case, as it existed when I was a boy growing up here. Of course, the pressures of the world and the pressures of society and change are omnipresent and are ever pushing on our society and our village and forcing us to try and accommodate those pressures. Just this evening, we've talked about the need to make the village hall here a little bit more friendly for the residents to come in and do their business, and for the people who work for the village to get their business done. This building has been here for many years, and during that time, the size of the village has grown considerably. The village budget has grown considerably, and now we are looking at ways to perhaps change this building to accommodate those differences. Also this evening, we've talked about the Johnson Controls green initiatives, and certainly 20 or 30 or 40 years ago, that really wasn't something people thought about, and now energy conservation, thinking about our environment, reducing our carbon footprint are on everybody's mind as we see the effects of climate change, which we can see in our rising coastal waters, increased wind, more turbulence in the atmosphere. Of course, in taking the steps to adopt the environmental plan, which this board has done, I believe the board made a very intelligent decision to look at ways in which the cost of the project could be offset by the energy savings. And it appears, according to the data that was given this evening, that that is proceeding well apace. But by the same token, there are other costs. For instance, as I mentioned this evening, we see solar panels going up in the parking lot on the south side of Job's Lane. And I'm sure not all of our residents will find those solar panels aesthetically pleasing. But we can't have it both ways. We can't be net energy zero and just keep doing the same things that we always have been doing and not paying attention to our energy balance. So net, it's a balancing act to take into effect what the goal we want to accomplish is, energy conservation, and what we have to do to accomplish it. And I think to the greatest extent possible, we have, and Johnson Controls has put as many of those panels on the roofs of the building so that they're not visible, and located the panels that do need to be freestanding in areas where at least they can shade the cars that are parked in the area and are not an eyesore. Another thing, societal pressure that's on us is more and more people. And we have traffic issues, which again, this board is looking to address. Now, the current traffic situation out on County Road 39 is not a plan that this board has initiated. That was initiated by the town, and we have a trial program going on right now. I had a few people talk to me today who were not extremely happy about this trial program and the confusion that it's caused. I had to say, look, we need to try and do something. We can't just wring our hands and say, too many cars, not enough road, what are we gonna do? It's terrible. At least the town is trying to do something and seeing what what happens. Not everything's going to be great, and certainly anytime you have change, it causes some confusion and some chaos. It's not forever. It's only a 2-week trial. I encourage everybody to be patient, be alert to what's going on, take a look and see if you see any benefit. Make your comments known to the town so that they can incorporate that into the overall evaluation of the system. But once again, it's a balancing act of trying to deal with the increased pressures of what's going on out here. And I know this entire board, and certainly me personally, take our responsibilities very seriously. And as much as we want to keep things the way they are, we want to look for ways to guide the progress of our village in the future, and that's what we're all trying to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Trustee Stevenson. We'll go to Trustee Zananti.
Thank you, Mayor. As Trustee Stevenson just said, the Southampton Town traffic pilot began yesterday, and it's certainly a work in progress. The first day and today, the second day, definitely has flaws and some success. The flaws really have to do with the traffic being frozen at the junction of Flying Point Road, Route 39, and Hampton Road. That frozen traffic caused drivers to come into the village and create traffic issues on many of our residential streets, both north and south of Hill Street. The success was that the flow of traffic west of North Sea Road has been vastly improved. Chief Hertow is working closely with Town Highway Superintendent McCardle to make the necessary adjustments in the pilot over the next 2 weeks, and we are convening a meeting with him later this week to go over the issues as we see them now. As Trustee Brown said, the Village Environmental and Sustainability Committee met, and we reviewed and rebooted the bike routes that the village will be implementing for this spring and summer. The markings will be clear, the number of bike racks will be enhanced, and safe biking around the village and beaches will be encouraged through a rebooted public safety program to be conducted by the Southampton Village Police Department. Big thanks go out to the Environmental and Sustainability Committee, the Bike Subcommittee, and our traffic engineers, VHB, as well as DPW Supervisor Stephen Phillips and our Police Chief, Sue Hertow. We attended, some of us attended the Suffolk County Village Officials Association dinner last week. What I took from that was how heartening it was to hear the county executive give a big shout out of support to our sewer project. Once a site is identified, he made it very clear that he will support us financially in any way he can, and I found that to be very compelling. And lastly, Arbor Day will be held on Friday, the 25th at 10 a.m. at Our Lady of the Hamptons, and a very large tree will be planted, and that large tree was made possible through a generous contribution by residents. So the tree committee and the village are very happy for that outcome. And with that, I will say good night.
Thank you very much, Trustee Zananti. I wanted to start by thanking Gina Aresta for being here tonight, because she was instrumental in bringing Johnson Controls to the village to, again, start the initiative of making us sustainable, greener, and, again, towards the goal of net zero. And also, you were instrumental in the Tree City program, and I hope I will see you at Arbor Day, good, outside of Our Lady of the Hamptons. So, again, thank you very much, and thank you to our DPW Superintendent, Steve Phillips, for being here. And I just hope everyone did enjoy the great weather we had over Easter weekend. Finally, it seemed that spring has come to the village. And just before the weekend, as Trustee Zananti was saying, on April 16th, I joined the fellow executive board member of the Suffolk County Village Officials Association, the Port Jefferson Mayor, Lauren Shepro, in presenting an award to Senator Anthony Palumbo of this district for his help to both Port Jefferson and Southampton, most specifically, and his help on legislation that we have requested from him to help us with in Albany for using cameras to help with the traffic enforcement and mitigation to the best degree possible. So we did give him an award, and I expect to see that legislation very soon. But again, traffic is a major, major issue in this village, and we can see it clearly with what's going on this week with a trial on County Road 39, which seems to be helping 39 maybe a little bit, but actually having a detrimental effect on the village. So we need to speak loudly and make sure that we do everything we can to protect the village, our residents, and our quality of life here. So I will, again, be reaching out to members of the town board and also to Charlie McCardle, the superintendent of highways for the town, to do everything we can to, again, protect the village from being inundated with this traffic. We are continuing to work with our advisor, Ryan Winter, and VHB on other mitigations that we can put in place to try and help the village with the inundation of traffic that we get every afternoon. And we are working very quickly so that we are going to try and have things in place that we can try this summer when we really do have a lot of traffic coming to this village. On other notes, just to follow up with some of the work that's been going on in the village, namely on Hampton Road. I've heard from some folks about the condition of Hampton Road. Again, we have known for some time now that National Grid was going to be coming in and putting in a new gas main and hooking up, I believe, 84 different entities on Hampton Road with a new gas line. Again, unfortunately, they had a period of where they went on strike, work stopped. We're hoping that they're going to be able to complete this soon, but again, we're a little bit at the mercy of National Grid. This may go on for a little bit more time, but the village does have hundreds of thousands of dollars from National Grid, in fact, to repave that road once the work is complete. And I've been talking to Steve Phillips, again at DPW, about starting the paving on the part of Hampton Road that they did not disrupt and damage. And that really is going east from about between Old Town and Leland Lane, I guess, is where the work stopped. So it would be from that point, somewhere between Old Town Road and Leland Lane, all the way to County Road 39 at the corner there with Flying Point, that we would repave. And I'm hoping that maybe we'll be able to get to that in the next week or two. I will add to, again, Trustee Zananti's discussion of bike lanes, that we actually did add new bike lanes at the intermediate school on Leland Lane to make it safer if there are any young people that are biking to school there or people just going through that area. The lines will also help slow down traffic in that area. Obviously, we don't want cars racing around that turn in Leland Lane with students coming and going from the school. So I think the additional lines there and the bike lanes will make that a safer street in the village. And finally, we're waiting still for Hink Electric, who actually got this contract back when Gina was still on the board, to put in a new stoplight at the intersection of Main Street and Job's Lane. We are also to have 4 pedestrian crossing signs on the 4 corners there, outside of the various businesses and the Peter Marino Foundation and the First Presbyterian Church. That did arrive. They started the work. The equipment arrived. It was not designed properly. You can't even make this stuff up. So it's gone back to the factory of Hink Electric. They are recasting the bases so that they will be able to fit into the footings that were already poured. And I understand, again, I'm hoping, Steve, they're back in the next week or two to finally install the lights and the pedestrian crossings, because the goal was to have that fully operational by the summer. So again, the reason why that area is also torn up is because, again, we're waiting for Hink Electric to make the corrections at their mistake, their expense, before they are put in properly. But once that is put in, I think actually the traffic will be much better there, and the pedestrians will know when to walk and not walk, because we have a lot of people that just walk out into the middle of the intersection there, and it's especially dangerous with the east-west traffic coming down Job's Lane and Meeting House. Finally, I just want to mention the bioswales on Cooper's Farm Road in front of the post office and at Bowdoin Square are going to be planted within the next 2 weeks, maybe even next week, right, Steve? So we had to wait to get a women-owned business to be able to install the plants, because as part of the grant, it mandated that we use a women-owned business for the planting of the material. So we did finally identify HTC. They're good to go. They were waiting on all the plants. They said they should have them within the next week, and then they will do the planting, probably within the next 2 weeks. So those will be planted out before the summer arrives. And finally, Mark Analetti has been contracted by the Lake Agawam Conservancy to help beautify the bioswale at the intersection of Nugent and Windmill Lane. So that's rather a deep bioswale that people have noticed, but it catches a lot of water that's coming down Windmill Lane that goes into a culvert and then ends up in Lake Agawam. So we want to do everything we can to clean that water before it reaches Lake Agawam. So that was the purpose of that bioswale there. I understand it's not the most attractive looking bioswale, so as I said, the Lake Agawam Conservancy, who is going to be responsible for maintaining our bioswales, has contracted with Mark Analetti to come in and do some additional plantings and work on that bioswale to make it look more attractive. So I want everyone to know that I am on top of these different projects. We're trying to get them done as expeditiously as possible. Sometimes events like strikes and improperly cast iron doesn't help us, but we are doing everything we can to get these projects finished in a timely fashion so that the village will look amazing within the next month, I hope. But with that, I want to thank everyone for coming to the meeting tonight. I want to thank the board, and I will ask for I make a motion to close this meeting of the Southampton Village Board of Trustees. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you very much.